Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and welcome to the strategy stream for Game Week 11. How are you guys doing? It looks like there's been some reasonably decent scores in the chat. Seems like some of you did pretty well. 69 points from me, which I think is pretty good, reasonably okay. I mean, you can't really complain with that. I think a pretty decent score. Another green arrow, which is always good. I think that's what, the fourth or fifth green arrow on the on the bounce. This season is underway for me, so it would seem, which is all good in the hood. Pretty happy with that. Did maybe expect a few more points from my team, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, overall, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining too much. So yeah, happy days indeed. We've still got 2 free transfers in the bank as well. We've still got money in the bank as well. So I think I could be pretty happy overall. Hopefully you guys are pretty happy with yourselves as well. Some nice scores in the 70s I'm seeing now, which is pretty decent. All right, so what do we think about that game? Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Did anyone watch it? It was a bit of a meh game. For those of you guys who own Aston Villa defenders, I don't think they defended too badly over the course of the game. But, you know, again, Aston Villa are pretty boring team at the moment, aren't they? A few things to talk about today. I think one thing we need to talk about, I think, primarily is that there has been some news today, unfortunately, that Luis Diaz is going to be out until after the World Cup. So he's going to be out for some months. Since we get unlimited transfers over the World Cup anyway, those of you guys who do own Luis Diaz, you are going to have to look for a replacement. I'm pretty gutted about that one because I did really think I would be bringing in Luis Diaz for Game Week 12, Game Week 13, because if we look at Liverpool's fixtures in Game Week 12, they've got West Ham, and after that, Nottingham Forest. That's the game. That's the big game. That's where you want the Liverpool attackers, right? So maybe we need to look elsewhere for that. Mo Salah, I still think is a little bit too expensive, but maybe, I don't know, Darwin Nunez, potentially, Bobby Firmino, Diogo Jota. Unfortunately, all 3 of those guys are in the forward position, so a forward is probably going to have to be sacrificed somewhere along the way, and I don't really know where to go with that, to be honest. Obviously, Mitrovic didn't play this game week, but I think he has had a little setback, but I still would feel reasonably confident that he starts in game week 11. So I don't think I'd be looking to remove Mitrovic at this point. So I don't think we need to talk about that. One thing I did want to talk about, because obviously I uploaded a video earlier today, the tier list video, and I put Kieran Trippier in don't buy or bad transfer or whatever I put him in. And straight away, a lot of the comments said, why is Trippier I disagree. I don't think Trippier is a bad transfer. I think he's a great transfer. I think everyone should bring Trippier in. And I'm yet to be convinced. So any of you guys watching this live or, you know, watching this as a replay, I would love for you guys to try and convince me why Kieran Trippier is a good buy right now. I'll try and talk about my reasoning behind it, and maybe you can convince me otherwise. But what I want is I want a more convincing argument than, you know, he scored points previously, therefore he'll score points in the future. Anyone can look at previous points and say, hey, he scored points before, he must score points in the future. You know, the harder job is to predict why this player is going to score points in the future. So, for example, I mean, let's just go on top transfers in, because I know that Trippier is number 3, third most popular transfer in. Over 170,000 transfers in already, which I think is wild. I understand he's got, you know, lots of returns in a row. I do understand that, of course. But why are we saying that he's going to score points over the next 3 game weeks, for example? What do you think? Manchester United away, Spurs away, within the space of 3 game weeks. There's not going to be any clean sheets over those, in those 2 fixtures. Everton is maybe a clean sheet, right? Obviously, if you own him already, I would definitely be keeping him, that's for sure. Just because a player isn't a buy, it doesn't mean they're a sell necessarily. But I want someone to convince me why he's a buy. Not why he's a keep. I understand why he's a keep, but why is he a buy? Are we getting clean sheets from here? For 5.6 million? That's a lot. That's a lot. Can we do better? Can we find a player who is going to get clean sheets and attacking returns for a similar price? I think so. But yeah, definitely a potential hold, particularly if you're not doubled up on the Newcastle attack, or the Newcastle defense, should I say? But I don't think he's a buy. I don't think he's a buy. So looking forward to seeing what you guys can come back at me with that one. It'll be interesting. It'd be interesting. But yes, let's first of all, let's talk about those 8 million-ish midfielders. I think that's a good place to start. So we're going to go on Fantasy Football Hub, of course, as we always do. Link in the description if you want to go check this out. We want to have a look at some midfielders. In fact, let's just make sure the game week range is, let's say, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 5 game weeks. There was a blank in there. So let's go from game week 5. Game week 5 to game week 10. So previous 5 game weeks for form. And have a look. We're going to order by expected points. I always like that metric. I always like this metric. So yeah, midfielders. You can see already straight away that we have got a few midfielders in that same bracket of 8 million-ish, right? Yeah, we'll remove them after. We'll remove some of the ones we're not so interested in. But in terms of our Luis Diaz replacement / any midfielder, any midfielder that you guys might be interested in right now, let's try and narrow it down and once again find the best to go for. I'm probably not going to go too much further than that. Can we maybe include Anthony? If we go per appearance, is Anthony going to be up there as well? Maybe as an option. Is his underlying stats any good? I don't know if they are. Oh, but you have to say Anthony is a good option. Otherwise the Manchester United fans don't like it. Oh, there he is up there. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, to be fair. It's not quite on the same level as some of these other players, but it's pretty decent. Okay. A few people saying about Trippier, saying Josh says if I didn't have Trippier, I wouldn't get him right now, and I admit I missed the boat short term. Fair enough. People saying Trippier can get assists almost every game. I mean, I kind of half agree with you. I don't think he's the best for assists. If we go to the defenders right now, we'll do the same exercise as we just did, and then go kind of who are the best defenders in terms of getting attacking returns. So expected goal involvement per appearance. Trippier is reasonably high. But he's not like top tier. Can we hide some low minute players as well potentially? No, it's not working today. I don't know why that's not working today. I guess he's up there, but we've got. Oh wait, this is across the whole season. We want from this period. We want this period here. So expected goal involvement per appearance. To be fair, Trippier is up. Oh, he's higher than I thought he would be. Maybe his stats have started to shift because previously it wasn't very high. In fact, maybe he is top for expected. Let's have a look at the fixtures over that course because I mean maybe I've just got this completely wrong. Brentford, Fulham, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Liverpool were the 5 fixtures. So there are some reasonably easy games, to be fair. But like I say, if I have Trippier, I keep him. But what I always try and do in FPL is I try and look for the next big thing rather than looking at the last big thing, if that makes any sense. But yeah, fair enough, Trippier's up there. But is he... 5.6 million puts me off. If you bought him at 5, fantastic. Definitely worth every penny. 5.6 is creeping into the premium realm. Like, he's in the same price bracket as, your Chelsea defenders, for example. I prefer Chelsea defenders. I really prefer Chelsea defenders at a similar price. I really do. But, who knows? To be fair, I just prefer cheap defenders in general right now. I'm trying to take money out of defence. But there we go. Right, anyway, fine. Okay, maybe Trippier is good for attacking returns. I would be cautious about him over these fixtures. That's all I would say. Don't expect a clean sheet in 11 or 13. If you can get the odd assist, get some bonus points, then I guess that works. I think you can find someone better, though. That's probably where I'm going to go on that one. I just think 5.6. I just feel like you missed the boat. If you're buying him now, I think you missed the boat. Don't know. Oh well. But yeah, okay. Let's go back to what I was talking about anyway. Let's have a look at how Chelsea defenders get rotated a lot more than Trippier. To be fair, the only reason Reece James got rotated was because he had like a minor injury. It's because he had a knock. So I don't feel like I don't feel like Trippier is I don't feel like Reece James is going to be a rotation risk going forward. I really don't. Like, I know when you just look at the team sheet and you say, oh, loads of players have been rotated. Context really does matter with these things, and they had just played AC Milan. Big difference there. They had just played AC Milan just a couple of days previously. Reece James had an injury. There's not really an excuse, to be fair, other than the short turnaround in games. There's not really too much of an excuse for players like Aubameyang and Sterling getting rotated. I think that was a bit of an L. Thiago Silva, you understand, he's, 38 years old? Is he 38 now? Jesus. But Reece James, I think he'll be absolutely fine. I don't think Reece James can be considered a rotation risk. Kukurea looks pretty good given the injuries at the moment as well. Chilwell is risky, I guess. But I still think Reece James is fine. I wouldn't worry about that one too much. For what it's worth, Newcastle are also playing good. Newcastle are playing very well going forward, but like I said in the video earlier, Newcastle have only kept 1 clean sheet in 7 games now. That's not much. And yeah, I suppose you could say a similar thing about Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea, they've not been great for clean sheets, but I feel like they have kept a few, haven't they? Clean sheets, let's just find a player that's played every game. Well, that's pretty difficult, to be honest. Clean sheets, they had the clean sheet against Wolves, obviously. That was pretty much it. But you feel like Chelsea are Chelsea, aren't they? They can get back to clean sheets reasonably soon. I think they will anyway. Like Aston Villa, clean sheet there, surely. Brentford, clean sheet. 2 next games look pretty decent for clean sheets, I think, for Chelsea. Not many teams keeping clean sheets. It seems like, yeah, I know. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that one, which is exactly why I'm not really interested in bringing in any big defenders, really. Other than Reece James. Cancelo, if you don't have Cancelo right now, you're not going to bring him in now, are you, really? Defence is just dead. I'd rather spend the money in attack. I really would. Dari says, thoughts on double Arsenal defence? Get out of here. Get out of here. Saliba's another one. Super high transfers in. Let's just prove it, I guess. Saliba. I mean, I'm sick and tired of talking about Saliba at this point. I think if you're still buying Saliba at this point, then you're probably beyond help. if I'm totally honest. 1 point, 0 point, 15 point class. 1 point, 1 point. In the last 5 fixtures, he's only scored above 1 point on 1 occasion. And then, blank in 12. Definitely not the time to buy William Saliba. However, game week 13, things change. Things change from week to week. But I'm not going to carry on. I'm not going to carry on saying don't buy Saliba. You guys know it by now, and if you don't, then you're never going to know. You're never going to know. All right, let's look at these midfielders then. Based on per appearance, we've got the game week range looking good as well. Let's only show the selected players. These are your top picks, really, for those midfield slots. These are your top picks. So, Trossard, looking good. I actually genuinely really like Trossard at the moment. I really do. I'm planning on getting him in, but I don't know for 100% how I'm going to do that yet. I think a really obvious move, particularly if you bought Martinelli at a higher price, is in... Actually, should we go to the My Team tool? Let's go for the My Team tool quickly. So game week 12. This is not my team. Can I put my team in? Let's just reset. Actually, can I just import my team? I don't know what my ID is. It's like 10 something. 10. Oh, what is it? 1066. It's gonna be someone else's team, isn't it? Is that my team? It's very similar to my team, but it's not my team. I have Anderson. No, wait. This is very similar to my team, but it's not my team. Jesus, whose team is this? And why is it so similar to mine? I guess everyone's team is kind of similar, isn't it? I think that's probably a big part of why it's been so hard to catch up on ranks, really, because everyone has such similar teams that we're all just fighting against each other. I don't have De Bruyne either. I have Bowen. I think that's my team. Yeah, that's my team. Okay. So that's my team. In game week 12, just using my team as an example, obviously we're not going to sell Haaland, so we're going to have to play someone instead of him. You know, a player like Mings is kind of perfect for that situation. Let's just throw the captain on Kane because he's Kane. We have got Cancelo and Martinelli also without fixtures. So some of you guys are going to have to play Andreas. I might be a similar situation. I'm kind of hoping not. But then that kind of leaves Martinelli. And Martinelli is a player that I think a lot of people will be sacrificing. So let's remove Martinelli and put in Trossard for game week 12. And suddenly things look a bit better. They've got that Nottingham Forest game. There's a pretty decent fixture. I mean, you could even get in Trossard now, but it's kind of difficult who you would sell for Trossard now if you're a Martinelli owner. If you're a Luis Diaz owner, on the other hand, is Trossard the solution? Is Trossard the Luis Diaz replacement? He's a little bit cheaper, but I genuinely feel like he could be. For me, it would be between him and... I need to add in a player before we start looking at stats. I want to add in Zaha. Wait, why is this not working now? Oh, please work. Why have you chosen now to die? Oh, is it because I've still written Zaha? Yes, no, that was just me being an idiot. Apologies. Yeah, Zaha for me would be up there, even though he's statistically a little bit lower than some of the other players. Trossard, Zaha seem like the best Luis Diaz kind of replacements, I guess. But you look, any of these players on screen right now are probably the players you're going to be looking at. These are probably your guys. If you haven't got Bowen yet, maybe Bowen is your solution. I think we have to probably eliminate Saka and Martinelli in terms of transfers in. Just because the game week 12 blank is just difficult, isn't it? So let's remove them. Foden is a player I just cannot decide whether he's worth bringing in, even considering the blank, because it's just... You just get the feeling that he can just do so much damage. If he scores a 10-pointer plus again, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth, bringing him in and bringing him back out again. It'd be worth it. Darren says, I prefer Pascal Gross. Really? Over the last few games? I don't know if I agree with that or not. I feel like Trossard is, going forward, looking for future points, Trossard is probably the one. What about free hit? Is it really out of the question? Yeah, loads of people talking about free hits. Trossard doesn't look good 13 and 14. Let me contest that. I know it's a game against Man City. That's not ideal, but City have consistently conceded goals. Everyone is conceding goals. This is kind of the whole problem with this FPL season. Everyone is conceding goals. Chelsea, conceding goals still, kinda. Wolves conceding goals. Aston Villa, everyone's conceding goals, which is why you just pick the best attackers and hope for the best rather than focusing too much energy on defense right now, I think. Game week 12 is going to be interesting. But yeah, let's go back to the free hit situation, because loads of people are thinking about free hitting. I think that is a very worthy point of conversation. And the issue is with a free hit is you only get one a season. I think last season, because we got two last season, we were able to use our free hits a little bit more flippantly. There was no opportunity to use it in the first half of the season, so we had two free hits essentially to use in the second half of the season alone. Then I kind of feel like a lot of people's thought processes around the free hit have kind of been relaxed a little bit, where I would say that the free hit chip is the most powerful chip. Maybe obviously the wild card is more powerful, but just talking about the chippy chips, your chip chips, not your chips, but your chip chips. You would have to say that the free hit is probably the most powerful one, not because it gets you the most points necessarily in the game week that you use it, but its flexibility and how you can navigate particular game weeks. You can set up your team to look fantastic for 8 game weeks in a row, but one game week in that 8, your team just looks terrible. There's blanks in it, it's looking awful, and you can just use the free hit to navigate that one. When you use free hits in conjunctions with bench boosts and wildcards and stuff, that's where you really get the full power of a free hit. And I feel like if you're using it in 12, you're not getting that. So, as an example of when we might want to use a free hit later on in the season, this is like your typical scenario. So, what we have is, for example, game week, let's just say game week 30 and game week 31. These are just examples. In game week 30, you might have a situation where 4 out of the 10 matches in the Premier League are postponed, moved around for cup reasons. Cups have caused fixture clashes all over the place. Loads of fixtures have needed to be moved around a little bit. So you've got game week 30, you've got a load of blanks. That's not good. You're thinking, damn. Game week 31, however, you've got a load of doubles. So those same 4 fixtures have been rescheduled to game week 31. So you've got 8 teams with double game weeks in 31, but 8 teams with blank game weeks in 30. Now, what we're going to see is the teams that blank in one game week are the ones that double in the next game week, right? In that situation, it's impossible to have players that cover your blank and have players that are available for the double. That is an extreme example, but it happens all the time where we have these. Maybe it's not one, maybe it's not one game week next to each other, but all of the teams that blank are often all of the teams that have double game weeks almost immediately after, and it's impossible to pivot from having a full 11 to play one game week and loads of double game week players in the following game week or the game week after. And that is where your free hit is at its most powerful. Now, I don't know if I've explained this very well. I hope I have. But basically what that means is that is the best time to use a free hit. Those kind of scenarios. And that doesn't even mean free hit in the blank game week. You could also set your team up so it's really nice. You've got those blanks covered in the fictional game week 30. And then you free hit in game week 31. And you free hit in a load of double game week players that you didn't own because previously they blanked. But now you can bring them in for the double, which is amazing. And this is really where we get a really nice use of a free hit, a really powerful use of a free hit. To use a free hit to cover game week 12 is really just using a free hit to dig yourself out of trouble. You're not using it aggressively, you're using it defensively in a way. You're using it in a way that is saying, oh, I screwed up, now I'm going to have to use my free hit. But we don't want to do that. Ideally, we don't want to do that. We want to use it to attack, to gain rank, to move forward, not to just cover up for kind of, lack of forward planning, I guess. Now, some of you guys are going to be in an unfortunate situation where you've got 3 Arsenal players, 3 City players. The good news is you still do have 2 game weeks worth of transfers to fix it. If you save a transfer, you've still got 3 transfers to fix that problem. That's a long time. You can use 2 in game week 12. Save 1, use 1, use 2 in game week 12, and you can sort out most of that problem, even if you've got 3 players from Arsenal and 3 players from Man City. Now, most people aren't going to have, 6 players from Arsenal and Man City. You're probably going to have 4, maybe, probably on average. I guess something like that. I think I've got 3. I know a lot of you guys are going to have 4. But you can fix that. If you've got 2 transfers between now and game week 12, you can use those 2 transfers to remove 2 of those players, or maybe even just 1 of those players. Put those players on your bench, and lo and behold, suddenly you've got a full, nice, beautiful playing squad for game week 12, and everything is looking amazing. So it seems like, is it really worth using a free hit? Unless you are absolute dead set on keeping all of those Man City and Arsenal players, and you really desperately just want to keep them, and you are not budging on that one, then fair enough. Murs made the point that the Arsenal and City fixtures are good around the blank game week, and I do agree with that. And that is definitely an argument in favour of using the free hit in game week 12. But you can still work around that, I think. I don't think the situation is dire enough. When you say, the fixtures around it are good, it's not like that we've got double game weeks around it. And that's what we're going to have in the future. That's what we're going to have. We're going to have a situation where we've got some terrible blanks, where more than just 2 of your teams will be blanking. You're going to see loads of your players blanking. You're going to see in an ordinary squad, we're going to see maybe 8. Certain game weeks will have like 8 teams blanking in one game week. And that's going to be much harder to fix just with transfers. And around that, we're going to have not just good fixtures around that, we're going to have double game weeks around that. So the bad bit as in your players blanking, will be worse, and the good fixtures that they'll have around that blank will be even better because they'll be double game weeks. So it's like a far more extreme version. So obviously it's speculative and it's difficult to plan for things we don't actually know about yet. We don't know who's going to be having the blanks. We don't know who's going to be having the double game, which we don't know when they're going to be. We know certain teams are definitely having double game. We know we're having at least one game week. Well, we're guaranteed 2 double game weeks already. We guaranteed them because we had game week, was it 7? When no teams played. We had game week 8. I think I've got this right. Where, Chelsea didn't play, Liverpool didn't play, etc., etc., etc. And we've now got game week 12 where Arsenal don't play and City don't play. We are guaranteed a decent amount of double game weeks. Blank game weeks will be there as well. And they'll all be occurring around the same time. It'll be very, very messy. And it's not going to be possible to pivot from covering the blanks to taking advantage of the doubles. It's not going to be easy to do that very easily and quickly without using something like, your wild cards and your free hits to bail yourself in and out of that. So I hope that makes sense. I think it makes a reasonable amount of sense. That's just, look, I feel like you probably find that most content creators will give you similar advice to that, to not use your free hit in game week 12, just because whatever problems you think you're having with this blank, it's going to be doubled when we start having the big doubles and the big blanks all within weeks of each other, maybe even days of each other. It really could get quite crazy indeed. But there we go. FPL Harry in the chat, what's up? I hope that's the real one. Is it the real one? Clicked on his profile. It's the real one. It's the real one. Almost done. 1 minute. Yeah, I'm almost there. Almost there. It's been we don't need the bench list anymore. It's been a rocky road, but we're finally going up the ranks. But there we go, guys. Yeah, what I would just advise you in game week 12 is to, a player like Haaland, I think you keep. A player like Cancelo, you could probably keep. A player like Martinelli, kind of up to you. The great thing about benching Cancelo is that whatever 4.5 million defender you're replacing him with is probably just as likely to get FPL points, given the state of defenders, right? You might consider replacing players like Patterson or Nico Williams, and going up to like a 4.3. We've got players like Gahey, we've got players like Mings, we've got some decent defenders who are actually a nice little price. It's not really going to take too much to upgrade, like a Patterson or a Nico or whoever else you've got. Get them in. Get them in. Why not? If that helps you to cover. Like, for example, with me, I wouldn't even have to... Let's just put Martinelli back in. That's where he was before. I wouldn't even... like, for someone like me who has 3 Arsenal and City players, I'm sure a few of you guys are in a similar situation. If I remove Patterson and replace him with, I don't know, who's a defender? Let's go defenders, sort by 4 game week prediction. We're looking for someone who has a good game week 12, really. So, who has a good game week 12? Who is reasonably inexpensive, because we're probably going to be benching this player a little bit. So, obviously I've already said Mings and Gahey or Anderson or whoever. But outside of that, let's see. It's kind of tough, right? James Justin? Maybe? Is that a stretch? Is that a reach? I don't know. There we go. Stick him in. Why not? But there we go. I'd still say the top 2 super cheap defenders are Mings and Gahey right now. Like, all of the 4 million defenders have died a death, unfortunately. There's no getting around Nico Williams. There's no getting around Patterson because he's injured. If Patterson was fit, he would be the one. Emerson Palmieri, not in the team. Who else? Lewis Dunk. How much is Lewis Dunk? And does he have a good fixture in 12? Because that's going to be a big factor, isn't it? Dunk. Wait. He's 4.6 million. Plays Nottingham Forest in that game week. It's not the worst idea. Is there any other Brighton defenders that are a little bit cheaper? Veltman's there. Webster's there. Estepinian. If Tariq was playing, then that would be class, wouldn't it? But, yeah, it's not... it wasn't to be. Lewis Dunk at 4.6 feels a little bit I don't know. I don't know. It's an option. It's an option. The thing is, though, remember, we are bringing these players and we're probably not going to play them too often. We're probably not going to play them too often. So, one to consider. But, you know, it would only be a few game weeks until the big international break. So, it doesn't matter too much. But you wouldn't want to spend crazy money. I mean, unless you would. But it's going to be completely dependent on what your team's kind of looking like. But as an example, you know, if you can find a few decent, cheap defenders, you can actually find yourself being able to bench all of your players. You know, ideally you wouldn't play Andreas against Aston Villa, I guess. So you're probably still going to have to trim it down to 2, maybe. For me, Haaland, Cancelo, Martinelli are probably the big 3, aren't they? In terms of Man City and Arsenal players. Would you say they're the big 3? Players like Saliba, you would sell pretty easily. In fact, this is a good thought experiment. Which players should you sell from Arsenal and Man City? So, Jesus, you'd probably sell him. There's too many other good forward options. I mean, you know, going from Jesus to, I don't know, I feel like going from Jesus to a Liverpool forward, like Jesus to Nunez or something like that, could really, really work. Martinelli, I think you could potentially keep him. Saliba, I think, is an easy-ish sell. Odegaard's an easy sell. Saka's a reasonably easy sell because of his price. Zinchenko's an easy sell. Ramsdale? Do people own Ramsdale? I guess a few people do. I guess you sell him. Gabriel, sell. White. So it's pretty much just Martinelli out of the Arsenal players who you could really consider, well, you would really seriously consider keeping through the blank, I think. Jesus, 1 booking away from suspension also. Good point. Good point. Why sell Saliba? I mean, I don't know. How many points are you expecting from him? I mean, like, look, there's potential for some clean sheets immediately after the break. But Leeds away. Leeds are capable of scoring. Arsenal haven't done great for clean sheets. Like, no one's done great for clean sheets. You look at Arsenal's last, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games. Wait, no, six games. They've kept 1 clean sheet in their last 6. It's pretty tragic, really. I don't think you need to keep Arsenal defenders. I don't think you need to keep any defenders in general. Like, they're, in general, very easy sells, to be honest. Or maybe that goes both ways, and actually it doesn't matter any way because your defenders all score 2 points. What's the point in transferring them out? There's a narrow difference between 0 and 2 points, I suppose. But yeah, I would say that out of all of the Arsenal players, in terms of sells for Game of 12, I would sell pretty much anyone other than Martinelli. He was the only one I'd probably consider keeping. In terms of Man City, Haaland, you just keep. I feel like you just keep. Surely. Cancelo goes both ways. You could keep him, you could sell him. De Bruyne, I think you sell because there's so many good options. Foden, I think you keep because he's so good. He is so good, isn't he, Foden? But you could sell him. Again, there's going to be some good options around that price. Edison you sell. Bernardo you sell. Diaz you sell. Walker, you already have sold him, but to be honest. So really, it's only like Haaland, Cancelo or Foden that you can consider keeping. So you shouldn't really be on like 4 or 5 or even 6 City and Arsenal players in Game 12 anyway, because a lot of them I think are fairly easy to sell. Arsenal played Man U, Spurs and Liverpool in that period, though. Fixtures after 12 are good. I mean, yeah, they are. But I don't know. How much faith do you have in anyone to keep a clean sheet? 1,100 viewers, but only 127 likes. Hit the like button. Prem Tipsy, you're so right. Guys, hit the like button. That would be massively appreciated. Cheers. I do appreciate it. If there's any other big topics you feel like I've missed out, by the way, today, do let me know. Sam Betts is put in the chat here. Don't really trying to get a perfect team for 12. It's midweek, rotation, and Liverpool injuries. Holding Arsenal and City assets if have 3 or 4 is a no-brainer. 4 is maybe a bit much. I don't think there's a reason to keep 4. I think it's pretty easy to get a full team of 11. If you're happy to play players like Andreas, which is fine. That's a nice 2 points, 3 points to collect, maybe. then I don't think you need to keep 4, really. And a lot of the players that you're going to be transferring to are players that don't typically have midweek fixtures, and there won't be too much rotation anyway. You know, the likes of Leicester or Crystal Palace or whoever else, Brighton, who don't have they're not in European competition. It's going to be absolutely fine. So yeah, I think 3. If you have 3, you're going to be able to put out a full 11. Hopefully, I don't think you need to have 4 or 5. I don't think there's too much reason to have 4 or 5 when you can just sell them, because there's not that many that are must keeps, right? Surely, I don't know. Saliba is prone to scoring an own goal. Bit harsh. It has happened. Strategy for game week 11, maybe. I'm currently thinking of rolling the transfer. I think most people are fairly well set up for game week 11. I mean, this is my team for game week 11. I haven't showed you yet. It's pretty good. You know, it was part of the plan. Haaland captaincy. Any interesting points on that? Dan Cross has put in the chat, tempted to go for it on a differential captaincy. And Dan Cross, I can tell that's your Liverpool bias talking, isn't it? Because given how Liverpool have been playing recently, you know, we talk about form versus fixture. A lot of people made the mistake of saying, Haaland, yes, he's in fantastic form, but he's playing against Manchester United, and Manchester United are a massive giant club. We know what happened there. Same situation with Liverpool again. People are going to say, oh no, look at the FPL app. Look at this. Look at this shade of burgundy. Look at this brownish, reddish, redberry, maroon, whatever. I don't know. What would you describe this colour as? They look at this colour and think, ugh, I'm not captaining a player who has this browny, reddy, disgusting, muddy colour on the screen. I'm not captaining a player in that fixture, but context. Liverpool have, how many goals they conceded? 6 in the last 2. How much previous to that? So 3 there. Didn't play in 8. Didn't play in 7. So I guess it's difficult to say. Clean sheet in 6. But before that, you know, where's Liverpool on my screen right now? Goal conceded versus Newcastle. No, yeah, to be fair, Liverpool started better than I thought. 2 goals conceded versus blah, 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 blah. My point stands. Liverpool are conceding goals. They're conceding an insane amount of goals. They're conceding insane amount of chances. Let's prove it, because I don't like to say these things without proving it. I should try and prove things more often. And I don't expect any of you guys to take me on face value, because if you do, I might be getting things wrong. But if we go, I don't know, game week 5 onwards, right? We're looking at teams, and we're looking at expected goals conceded per appearance. And you can see that Liverpool, right, let's put it the other way because it's confusing me otherwise. Liverpool are, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14th. They have over the last 5 game weeks, or 5 playing game weeks, they are the 6th worst or 7th worst defence in the Premier League. The 7th worst defence. Not one of the best, one of the worst defences. If we take it to the last couple of game weeks, I imagine it'll be even worse. So last 2 game weeks, Liverpool are the 3rd worst defence in the Premier League. Now, I'm not criticising their attack, because equally, if we go... And this is another important thing, you know, guys. People say our team is good or bad. When we're looking at FPL, I hate it when people use one metric. They're a good team or they're a bad team. Because I think often is the case. You know, take Wolves, for example. Terrible attack. Reasonably decent, decent enough defence. So there's 2 metrics there. And that applies to pretty much every single team. Liverpool, if we look at their expected goals, we can see that they're 5th top. So they're the 5th best attack. So Liverpool attackers still looking likely to score goals. Anyone who's if you've got defenders playing against Liverpool, then there's a bad fixture. But if you've got attackers playing against Liverpool, it's a good fixture. So there's not just one blanket, all good or all bad, right? Liverpool are a good team if you've got attackers. It's a bad team to play against if you've got defenders. That's where we're at right now. So, basically, what I'm saying is... Captain Haaland in Game Week 11. I don't think we go differential at all. I mean, personally, I'm not even thinking about it. 7th is kind of around the middle. Okay. Well, it's 7th worst, but... Okay, right. I see what you're saying, but that's so... Assume we're looking at the mid-table teams in terms of expected goals conceded. Forget Liverpool for a second. Just looking at the teams right in the middle here. If Haaland is playing Bournemouth, do you captain him? Yes. Do you captain him against Manchester United? Yes. Do you captain him against Spurs? Yes. Do you captain him against Brighton? Yes. Do you captain him against Brentford? Yes. Do you captain him against Everton? Yes. These are the middle of the park teams, right? These are the middle ground teams. So why is Liverpool exempt from that? Nottingham Forest right next to Liverpool there. Crystal Palace right next to them. Southampton not too far from Liverpool either. How come you would captain Haaland against all of those teams but not Liverpool? Even if you say Liverpool are a mid-table team defensively, which I don't think they are. They're kind of lower mid-table defensively at the moment. If not even lower, depending on how recently we're looking. Games at Anfield, though, makes a difference. I just feel like... Alright, here's an experiment. Here's an experiment. A few of you guys have got a bit of pushback on this. Are you Liverpool fans? Is that factoring in? Stannis? Haaland going to blank against Liverpool, mark my words. Are you a Liverpool fan? S-Hawes, games at Anfield, though, makes a difference. Are you a Liverpool fan? I want to know. I want to know. Because I want to figure out the logic. Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? And did you say the same thing against Manchester United is another point. Did you captain Haaland against Manchester United? Because if so, then maybe there's a pattern emerging that you do have this kind of unconscious bias where you don't like to captain players, no matter how good they are, no matter how good their form is, against the typically big teams, right? You know? No, I am a Brentford fan, but I do have Kane as well. He has Everton at home. Okay, but I understand. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I don't think there's too much wrong with going Kane captain. But at the same time, does that, just because you prefer to captain Kane, does that mean Haaland is a bad captain? Because there could be more than one good captain in a game week, right? I think so, anyway. I've always thought so. Well, to be fair, so far this season, it's just been a one-man army in terms of captaincy, isn't it? I don't know. I just feel like Liverpool, they have proven themselves over and over and over again that they can't defend at the moment. Something's going on. Confidence is low. Tactics are going to have to change, which could make things even messier in the short term. It's really, 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 really difficult to suggest that suddenly Liverpool are going to be able to keep a clean sheet against the best attack in the league. Well, not even just the best attack in the league, the best attack by far. If we look at the XG table, ordered by XG over the last 5, Man City clear at the top, 2.69 XG per game. And this is a team with the most clinical finishers and creators in world football, pretty much. So they're going to exceed their XG. You know, whereas Brighton, Newcastle, Arsenal, these teams might kind of match their XG, maybe go slightly above. If, you know, certain players are going to go slightly above. But with Man City, Haaland is going to exceed his XG. De Bruyne is going to exceed his XG. All of these players are going to actually go above and beyond their XG, right? So we're talking about the best attack versus a team very much off form. Stefan says both teams will score. I probably agree with you, to be honest. I probably agree with you. In terms of expected goals conceded, we have got Man City as the best defence at the moment, followed by West Ham, by the way. And then Arsenal and Aston Villa joint. Pretty decent, right? But in terms of expected clean sheets, it reads slightly differently. Well, ever so slightly differently. We see some teams dropping down a little bit more. But yeah, Fulham are the big team to target at the moment. Everton are not as good as you might think, by the way, guys. I know they've kind of overperformed on their defensive numbers. 1.6 expected goals conceded per game, and they've exceeded that by a lot. Because how many goals have they actually conceded during that time? Like a few. Less than 1.6 per game. We kind of saw them concede 2 goals against Manchester United, which I think has taken them away from the... taken them down the table a little bit in terms of best defences. Well, they were first, weren't they? Mr. Magman says, by the way, Everton got a better defence than Liverpool at the moment. I probably agree with you. Probably would agree with you. Thoughts on Bruno Guimaraes? I don't mind him. I think he's an okay option. Fairly decent. There we go. Right, I think that's all of the major topics covered. A few people have asked about goalkeepers. A weird amount of people have asked about goalkeepers. Why? Why are you guys asking about goalkeepers? I mean, I guess in terms of goalkeepers, I still think that Guaita is probably the best one to have right now. 4.5 million, good fixtures. Can we go? Oh, let's have a look at the predicted points to see if they come up with anything different. But let's go, because if you're making a goalkeeper transfer now, realistically, you ain't going to change it before the World Cup. So you need a goalkeeper to take you through to game week 16. So if what we do is we have a look at the game week range all the way to 16. We've got a super chat here from Aki Laurie, says, bring in Saka and Kane or Foden and Jesus, then free hit in 12. Aki, I implore you to, when this stream is over, go back, watch the rest of the stream, my friend, where I talk quite in detail about why free hits are probably not the play right now and how I feel like there's probably going to be some really good opportunities to use a free hit later on in the season. So if possible, try and save that free hit. Here we go, guys. So here are the highest predicted points in terms of goalkeepers. And what you can see, actually, is most of them are quite expensive. Other than Guaita, who's actually predicted a reasonably high amount of points. Got some decent fixtures here. Leicester, Wolves, Everton. Wolves and Everton, good opportunities for clean sheets. Southampton, not bad either. West Ham, not bad either. Nottingham Forest there in 16 as well. So, yeah, Guaita, I've been banging this drum up for a couple of weeks now. Obviously, he hasn't really returned yet. I didn't really expect him to against Chelsea. Kind of did hope for a clean sheet in game week 10 just gone, though, if I'm honest. Against Leeds, I kind of hoped for a clean sheet. For Crystal Palace, didn't happen. Leicester, I wouldn't be super confident about a clean sheet there either. But certainly after that, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham and Nottingham Forest, those are some of... we can go back to here. Oh, wait, no, I've lost it. Oh, I've lost my page I was on. All right, let's go back and find it again. So what do we have? We had teams per appearance, 5 to... We want the game weeks 5 to whenever. 5 to 10. And we want to look at expected goals. So you can see the teams that kind of have the lowest expected goals. Wolves, Southampton. Who else was in there? Wolves, Southampton. We're looking for like Everton, Forest, West Ham. So yeah, Forest are down there. Everton are down there. Where are West Ham? West Ham are kind of maybe slightly above average. Leicester slightly above average as well. But yeah, point stands in general. All of the teams that Guaita faces between now and the international break are teams that typically score the least amount of goals, who create the least amount of chances, who take the least amount of shots, which is good. Means clean sheets, right? Which is why everyone's been raving about, or content creators at least, have been raving about Crystal Palace defence, because these are some very, very good opportunities, particularly after 11, some very good opportunities for some clean sheets. In fact, if you've got a Saliba or someone like that, or a Ben White or a Zinchenko, or I don't know, Ruben Dias, whoever you've got who's a defender who blanks in 12, you get to skip the Leicester game completely and then go straight in with the Wolves game and go for some Crystal Palace defenders for that. Sounds pretty good to me, right? Sounds pretty good, right? So yeah, obviously Alisson and Lloris and Pope's going to be up there. They're super expensive though. Guaita is your boy. Leno, I wouldn't be so confident about, even though some of the fixtures look okay and he's making some saves. He's conceding way too many chances, and there's just not going to be clean sheets there. Pickford, optional. Pickford's not the worst shout. I kind of like Pickford as well. I'll probably be going between Guaita and Pickford. Those you guys saying Kepa, are we really that convinced that Mendy's just not going to play anymore? like, ever again? Are you not a little bit worried about rotation? Just a little bit? Little bit worried about rotation? I don't know. I mean, if you are convinced that Kepa is going to play every game for Chelsea now, between now and the World Cup at least, I mean that is the saving grace, isn't it? If it goes terribly, at least you've got the World Cup break to fix it, I guess. Thoughts on Neto goalkeeper? Nah, not really feeling it. I don't expect Bournemouth to keep too many clean sheets. Even though they're not conceding a whole lot of goals, they're also not keeping clean sheets. I mean, we've got some decent opportunities there for clean sheets for Chelsea. We know Chelsea are pretty good in the immediate term for clean sheets with Aston Villa and Brentford up next. But at the same time, some of the fixtures after that are not ideal if we're looking at clean sheets alone, and I am a little bit worried. Potter likes a goalkeeper who can play out from the back. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And Mendy definitely can't do that. Small risk of rotation. Some bad fixtures in there as well. Man United, Brighton, Arsenal, Newcastle. These are some of the better attacks in the league, aren't they? Maybe seems a little bit short-sighted just looking at Aston Villa and Brentford, when really we need, if you're picking a goalkeeper now, you need to be picking one to work through all the way till 16. And in my opinion, Guaita is the one to go for. But I don't mind some of these other options. I don't mind Pickford. If you've already got like a Pope, who are you transferring out? If you already got Pope, keep him. If you already got Alisson, I would genuinely be tempted to keep Alisson if I had him, but I don't think I would have him. Lloris, if you have him, keep him. If you have any of these if you have any goalkeeper basically on screen now, keep them. If you're looking to buy a new goalkeeper, then I'd probably go for Guaita, personally. FinM says, sell Foden for Trossard, so I have a full team game week 12. Don't do it now. No way, don't do it now. I mean, you could maybe do that in game week 12, but don't do it now. Don't look at this Liverpool fixture and think it's a hard one. It's not. Foden's going to go off. I'm so jealous of Foden owners. I really am. Foden owners, keep. Pope to Guaita to free up funds, though. If that really helps the rest of your team, then I guess you could. Who's the best 5.9 million midfielder? Like, maybe Almiron on form, right? Surely. It's got to be Almiron, right? But anyway. We'll leave that there. We are getting towards an hour. So let's have a quick look at potential price changes that we might be seeing very, very soon. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat as well. What do you think about Kane's yellow triangle? Oh, his Dorito of death. Wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't worry about it. Okay, so players going up in price. Mingsy, Almiron, Bowen, Sa. Does anyone own Sa? Pope, Dallo maybe goes up this week. Skamaka probably goes up this week as well at some point. Few players are likely to go up this week, basically. But tonight, it could be Mings tonight. It could also be Almiron and Bowen tonight. Judging by this page, in terms of going down. Luis Diaz is flying down. So Luis Diaz is probably going to drop in price tonight, down to 8. Mitrovic is going to get a price decrease. But I think you just got to keep Mitrovic. I think you got to keep him. I guess you could sell him. It depends what you could do with it. Like, let's have a look at my team. Is there anything crazy I could do with Mitrovic if I felt like it? I don't know if I do feel like it, but 7.6 million I'd have. Could go for Wilson, I guess, couldn't I? But do I want Wilson ahead of the Manchester? Is it Manchester United Wilson plays next? Can't remember now. Yeah, Manchester United away. Am I going to get Tony? Probably not. Who am I going to get? It's a bad time. The only players you're realistically going to get, the only players would be like, I don't know, I kind of like the look of some of the Liverpool forwards, but not in game week 11, in game week 12. I don't really see where people go from Mitrovic this week. I feel like whoever you're transferring him out for probably is no better than what you got already. Mings price rise, people smoking the ganja. Are you joking, Josh? Mings has kept 2 clean sheets in the last 3. And Aston Villa are actually one of the few defences that are showing any kind of, I don't know, great promise. Which is, the standards are low, okay, guys. The bar is very low right now. But yeah, look, you may as well keep Mitrovic, in my opinion. I feel like you just keep him. I think he's going to be fit for game week 11 anyway. I'm pretty not confident, but it looks likely. To be honest. But yeah, and other players dropping in price, should I say? Kulusevski, Zinchenko, Stones, Milner, Bailey obviously was out today, not even on the bench. Mendy at Chelsea. Then a couple of other random players might go down throughout the week. Trent Alexander-Arnold's probably going to drop. I tell you what, if we can get later on in the season, if we could get Trent for like 7 million, that'd be class, won't it? It's going to take a few weeks for him to drop down in price quite that much. It only take one game week for him to start going up again. People are reactionary. Reactionary people are the people who decide price changes, not people who sit down and really think about their transfer moves. It's the people who just buy whoever had a good score the previous game week. But there we go, guys. I'm going to call it there. I really do appreciate you guys watching today. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like before you disappear. Don't forget, I did put a transfer tier list video up earlier if you want to go check that out. We'll be back with a buy sell keeper void video tomorrow as well. Yeah, I look forward to reading and replying to some of your comments. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Sub if you haven't done already. Like if you haven't done already. That's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.